Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another 3D Thursday. I'm Noe Pedro Ruiz, a designer here at Adafruit. Joining me every week, my brother Pedro. What's up, man? Welcome back.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Pedro Ruiz, the creative tech here at Adafruit, and every week we come to share 3D printing projects featuring embedded components from Adafruit.
They're embedded now, folks. That's right. This is where we combine 3D printing, DIY electronics. We smash them together to create cool, inspirational projects for you folks at home. Pedro, a lot of cool stuff working on, man. What's going on with the show?
Yeah, so this week's coupon code is flexible circuits.
Flexible circuits, folks. That's right. We now have conductive filament and now flexible circuits.
We'll take a look at that right after this. 10% off discount code for this week is flexible Flexi circuit.
Flex in moderation, folks. Really cool deals going on this week, and I think for the next month or so, but we'll see how it is. If for orders that are over $100 or more, you guys get this freebie. You get a Perma Proto. This is the half-size version. Very cool. High quality perf board. We use these all the time. Very cool. You can make all sorts of cool projects like our Bluetooth gamepad.
Of course, you can attach a bunch of LEDs to this to make yourself like a little UV light array, or any other of the other cool little gamepad sort of buttons.
Just cool circuits, yeah. Just cool integrated circuits. So
awesome
really
for
cool
prototyping.
Deals.
Get these
yourself
free.
10% off.
And of course, if you any order over $200 or more gets free UPS ground shipping.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and take a look. What's on those shows? Hopefully it won't be upside down. Yes, finally for once, it's not upside down. Okay.
Every show we have a lovely assortment of segments. We'll start off with what are you prototyping?
Yeah, this is what we are prototyping. What are you prototyping? What am I prototyping? Okay, then layer by layer.
It's when we take a look at some of the CAD techniques and slicing stuff that we need to do for 3D printing.
That's right. And then we'll look at shop talk.
This week we have a lot of cool new materials in the shop.
We may or may not have time, folks, but we do want to do Q&A.
Yeah.
Let's see if that works.
We'll see what the timing is on it.
Okay, well, coupon code again. Make sure to get on that, folks. It's a good one.
Flexi circuit.
All right, we're going to flip the lights, do some cool stuff here, and you're going to see in just a second upside down. I can't not be upside down.
Okay, so last week we were taking a look at using Protopasta's conductive filament. We're dual extruding that and making this awesome, simple little battery tester using a little tweezer design, and we have an embedded LED sequin in there. So we were, asking ourselves, can we combine this with flexible material like the Ninja Flex that we have in the store?
Yeah.
And lo and behold, we had some brand new Ninja Flex to test this out with. We have the glow-in-the-dark flexible Ninja Flex.
Oh my God, this is a 3D printed Tron hand with embedded LEDs and circuits. We're in the future, folks. It's 2015. Here we are.
We can finally embed all of our electronics into flexible material.
This is one print. This is all printed at the same time with
dual extruder. So we're using the brand new FlashForge Creative Pro that we're going to have in the shop very soon. And going forward, we're going to do a lot of dual extrusion. So
integrated.
No looking back
here.
now. Yeah, everything's going to be integrated now. It's going to be flexible. It's going to be glowy. It's going to be futuristic. Tron. Yeah.
Okay, so again, let's back up. Okay, so this is conductive filament from the folks that were at Protopasta, Protoplant. And how well does it bind to NinjaFlex?
So this binds very well. We're using the same print speeds of NinjaFlex, which is 45 millimeters a second. And even with the tweezer, we were printing at speeds of 90 millimeters a second. So it can bond very well if it's fast or if it's a slow extrusion speed.
When we
so
think
it does good for
but
both.
when we think of conductive filament, isn't it like brittle? Isn't it going to break?
No. So these guys is Protopasta's is sort of semi-flexible. Of course, if you bend it all the way back, like 180 degrees, it's definitely going to bend.
Okay, you can break it. Not indestructible like NinjaFlex. NinjaFlex is indestructible. You can bend it any which way
stretch it.
you
Yeah,
want.
it's rubbery. It's stretchy.
So it kind of insulates it and sort of protects it as the NinjaFlex does.
When we're generating our tool path, we'll take a look at that in a little bit. Yes, it is all insulated, so this is 1.5 millimeters thick, but the traces are sort of on top of each other, and because we can take advantage of 3D printing, we can print on multiple layers.
Now, how did you get the actual LEDs to stick on there? Did you use something?
Okay, yeah, so we can make snap fit parts on there.
Oh, like the battery. So the battery snap fit, that just snaps into place. It's printed in conductive filament, and those are connected to all the traces, or at least a set of the traces, because these are in parallel. They're laid out in such a way. But you use bare conductive paint to stick those LEDs to the pads.
Yeah, so this works excellent with bare conductive paint.
It doesn't peel off, it stays on nicely.
It bonds very well to the NinjaFlex and the conductive filament, so if you didn't make any snap together or snap fit parts like we did for the battery, you can just on the surface sort of mount or bond these together.
That is so cool.
So very awesome there that we're able to use multiple sort of conductive filaments to create this flexible wearable.
Okay, so what kind of battery is that? What kind of coin cell?
This is the CR2450. It's a rechargeable coin cell battery.
Oh.
You can get a little rechargeable little USB thing that we sell in the shop as well.
Okay, cool. So you can reuse this battery.
Yeah. So the bare conductive paint takes about 15 minutes to dry.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, it bonds very well. And of course, as you can see, regarding the NinjaFlex, it reacts very good to UV lighting that we have set up here.
Okay, we'll talk more about that in a shop talk. Real quick, how about like pulling power? How did you mix the colors and what did you find out?
Okay, so we have blues, greens, and reds on here. One color you can notice that we don't have on here are the white LEDs because of the current draw. It's just a little bit too much for the conductive filament to handle. So you definitely want to use it with low power circuits. So people often ask, what's the conductivity of this? It's 15 ohms per centimeter.
Oh, wow. Okay, let's talk about that a little bit more later. I want to take a look at the CAD. How did you set this up in CAD, man? This is pretty cool.
Let's go ahead and jump into
We're going to jump into layer by layer, folks. Here we are in Photoshop. So you actually traced this out. You traced your hand on paper, used the pencil, made a turkey.
Okay, so one point that we want to tell people there is not to actually have your thumb out so far like that, like the traditional turkey style, because the build plate, you're going to run out of room. So the way I should have done that was have my thumb in just a little bit.
Okay.
And you don't want to space. You want to keep some space for your fingers, but not too much, because you want to leave room for the little slits for.
Okay, so that's how you have
straps.
That's how you strap it to your fingers. Yeah. Just use the actual, instead of using like zip ties or something else, you can actually just 3D print the things you need to strap it. That's awesome. Okay, well let's look at the layer paths. Do you have any?
Okay, so last time for building the traces, I did it sort of organically. What I should have done.
What do you mean organically?
So I just traced.
Oh, the thickness was sort of variable, right?
Yeah, okay. It wasn't one unified thickness.
Okay, so how do you do
So to do that, we just drew our paths inside of Photoshop here. And you can just see it's just one single path. So when you import this into Illustrator, or you can just start off in Illustrator,
why not?
You'll increase the thickness of all these by 20 points. I should have used a different measurement, but that's what these are set up.
Okay.
And if you pause here, you can just go under Object, Path, and then outline the stroke to sort of have that thick traces that we're going to need.
It's consistent that way.
Yeah, and then you can dynamically change all these if you need it to be smaller or thinner or thicker.
All right.
So we'll export this as an SVG and extrude this inside of Fusion 360. So again, the whole thickness of this is 1.5 millimeters. And we have the snap together part here. So you can actually edit this. So you can, measure whatever battery that you may have on hand.
Okay. So
and use a smaller one. Yeah, you can just update the radius on here. As you can see, the power is all connected to the traces here.
On the bottom,
and here's another look too. We could take advantage of 3D printing and have different heights for all your traces so that they can go over each other. They can overlap and be completely insulated from each other.
And no need to worry about supports or their overhangs because the NinjaFlex kind of is doing that.
Yeah, it's printing right on top of this.
That's awesome.
So everything is completely insulated on the inside. And as usual, we'll have to use those traces to actually cut away from the main glove geometry. And if we zoom up here, you can see all of the little tunnels that all the traces create after you cut away all that material.
So you always want to do that, folks, when you're doing dual extrusion because you cannot have the two parts intersect with each other. If you do, you're going to bridge the traces basically at this point. Okay. Very cool. Okay, so as I was saying before, when you're tracing this out, you want to make sure you leave some room for the little tabs that have the slits where the straps will go in. Okay, so cool update that Fusion 360 did over the weekend was they added this make button on the top there. You can kind of see it's kind of selected there. It just says make, and what it does is opens up this 3D print panel. Okay. And what this does is allow you to export it to your slicer.
They have their own print studio.
Cool.
It's sort of like their own sort of. It works with
slicer?
CAM. It does 3D printing slicing.
Of course, for the Ember printer as well.
Yes.
Okay, so
They have some partnerships with like Type A and PrinterBot.
Okay, cool.
So if you continue, you can sort of see here that you can customize this. So we're just we're shooting this over to Simplify 3D.
Okay.
But they do have some default ones here, like I was saying, Print Studio, Mesh Mixer,
Alright.
Cura, MakerBot.
Very cool. And of course, you can also
This saves you a step from having, especially when you're prototyping, you don't want to have like an STL, that will be thrown away or deleting because it's not the finalized one. This saves you a step and shoots you directly into the slicer.
Very cool. And of course, you can also have some refinement controls to have a
more
high poly count or low poly count. That's
more
really
triangles,
good.
meshes, whatever.
Yeah, so it's all in that little panel now. So nice update. Okay, so here we are in Simplify 3D.
And you can see it just shoots it right over, drops it in.
That's awesome.
And we're inside of, like you said, Simplify 3D. So from here, we'll import all of the other two materials. We'll select all of them and to combine the, to align the origins. If you go back just a little bit, you'll go under Edit, and then it's under Align Selected Model Origins, and that's going to group everything together so they're unified on the same origin.
Very cool.
So to go ahead and move all of these as one group, we're going to have to select all these and we'll group the selection that we have one sort of object that we can move around. And they have a nifty little option there that you might have missed there. It was the... Do
you want me to go back?
Yeah, just go back a little bit. It's Edit, and it's how you can quickly place your model on the bed without having to go into your X and Y and sort of figure out what axes it's rotating around.
It's called Place Surface on Bed, so you just get to select a triangle from your model.
It's Control or Command L, and that'll let you select one of the faces, one of the triangles, whatever. That'll let you stick it flat on the bed.
Okay.
And then you can just go in here and rotate on the Z.
You just double click on it in the sidebar to bring up your model.
Yeah, and then we'll just hit the center and arrange. And as you can see, what I was saying before, the way you want to position your hand, so you're not going off the build plate
Living on the edge.
Okay, so now we'll look at setting up the
right and left extruders.
Right and left extruder, yeah. So color 1 is going to be the right extruder.
Okay.
Let's hit play on that, and we'll go down here to select the models. And for our setup, we were using the conductive filament on the right side.
Okay.
We left the retraction on here because it works pretty well. When we tried, the tweezer one, we were able to print at very high speeds. The bottom layers for this, because we want this to sort of be 100%, we're going to leave the solid bottoms to 6.
You upped it to 6. It's usually 3, 3, and 6 and 3. So
just to make sure that we're 100% on the info there. And then we'll jump into the additions in a little bit here, and we'll make sure that the OO shield, we can't have the offset too far apart because we're already on the edge of the build plate there. So we left it at 2. Actually, we bumped it down to 2, and then upped the outlines to 2 as well, just so we have a little bit more catch as drips from the extruder.
Okay, again, the OO shield is what helps prevent all that sort of mix.
I mean, there's a little bit on there, but not enough to actually bridge any of the traces. Okay, so for the temperature, because there's an active cooling fan on the left side and it drops the degrees about 4 or 6 degrees, we'll want to bump it up to 240 just to compensate for any cooling. And
it's so cool, it blows it down.
It cools it down really good. So we'll also bump up the right to 235.
Okay.
And I think another thing to look into here is, I think for the default printing speeds, unfortunately, we'll have to knock this down to 45 so that the NinjaFlex can print at reasonable
that's typically what you
quality.
want to print at. You don't want to print any faster than that, especially with
the
NinjaFlex.
The X and Y travel movement speeds can stay at 120.
Okay.
And then we'll set up color 2, which is going to be the left extruder. And inside here we'll select the models, which is going to be just the hand model. And this is what we're going to print in NinjaFlex. So we got to remember to turn off retraction for that. Otherwise, you can't.
So you can have variable retraction?
And variable retractions and variable additions too. We jump into here. We're going to leave the layers the same.
Okay.
And under here, we'll leave this at 2.
That's
and the ooze offset 2 because again we're at the edge of the build plate. The infill should be, it doesn't really matter since it's going to be like 100%. Anyway, the temperatures inside here should be the same. The settings carries over. One thing I wish did not carry over was the default printing speed for different extruders.
So it'd be nice to print fast conductive and then slow PLA, but in this case you're kind of limited to sticking it down.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's fine
Good
for
to know.
now. It takes about an hour and a half to print this.
Okay, there's your speed. Okay.
And then
How about the travel rate? You can keep it at 120.
travel rate can stay at 120. Yeah.
Alright. Cool.
I think that's all we change in here. We'll go to OK, and then we'll prepare the print. And we'll make sure that color 1 and color 2 are selected.
Okay.
And then we'll want to verify that the tool paths are not crossing over each other, because that could definitely short out the traces. So just go inside here and just look at move the end sort of timeline here, so you can see, the little slider, so you can make sure that all of the traces, or all of the tool heads are printing the way you want.
One of the reasons I really like Simplify 3D is you have such a fast slicing engine. You get really nice visuals too. You get a lot of different parameters in your feature type.
So that's just a look at some of the techniques that we took at
Workflow,
setting up
setting it up.
dual extrusion. Yeah.
Okay.
Very
just a
easy
couple
with
tips.
Simplify and Fusion 360.
Of course, we will have a full tutorial coming soon. Let's take another look at that awesome wearable.
Upside down.
Upside down.
Yeah, so this is great
It's like
for
Tron hand.
this is great for like doing a POV or doing line exposures
interesting,
and things like that.
Just a cool
And,
wearable, you know, like if
just
you want to do like cosplay and you want to be like futuristic or something.
Yeah, so this is a very awesome,
Oh
starting point for doing, like someone was saying, you could control maybe like an Oculus Rift with all your fingers. Just have this as the conductive pads on there. So there's a lot of really cool things you can do with this. Maybe like a MIDI glove or something that's all touch sensitive.
Yeah, touch sensitive.
And of course, for prosthetics, you can have sort of there's just a lot of ideas you can do with that. Yeah, actually,
like soft potentiometers, a lot of different stuff, folks. We'll be, of course, exploring that more as the months come by. This was, of course, layer by layer. We do want to, of course, let you guys know Flexi Circuit is the coupon today. You get 10% off.
That's right. During checkout, use Flexi Circuit during checkout, get 10% off, and of course, $200 or more, you get free shipping, and $100 or more, you get the awesome little Proto Promo.
I love that thing.
Boards.
Alrighty, let's jump into shop talk next. We got all this cool material, so let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about it. Let me jump over here. I think that'll work. Hopefully it's not upside down. Oh yeah. There we go.
Okay, so this is Protopasta. This is by Protoplant. These are the guys that are making the conductive PLA.
They're also making a bunch of other stuff too. Metal filament, magnetic
we
iron.
Are definitely testing those out.
Don't tell them.
Okay. Of course, when we test things out, we make projects that you guys can build with them.
So everybody wants to know, how conductive is this stuff?
Okay, yeah, so this is 1.75 is the spool that we're going to have in the shop. It's 500 grams, so this should, since most of we'll be printing the traces with this, you shouldn't need too much.
All right.
But yeah, go ahead and tell us, Noah, what are the conductivity of this?
Yeah, so the way they're testing this, folks, is a little bit different. They're using volume resistivity. Since it's 3D printed stuff, it's not flat. They're testing it, their little test rig, they're using a 1 by 1 by 1 cube of material, and pretty much the resistivity kind of changes depending on the features, right? So if you print a part like Pedro has perpendicular, nice and flat, you get less resistivity. But as soon as you start going up in the Z, if you have something travel like a trace in the Z, you're going to have a difference of about 85 ohms of resistance, give or take. But other than that, it works really well for low-powered circuit stuff. I think I read on their site that you can even power an Arduino, like a Tiny 83 or whichever chip. And it's a pretty good choice for anything that needs to use capacitive touch. You can make styluses, game pads, a bunch of different things. Check out the Proto site too, the Protopasta site too. They have some other examples of things.
Of course, very simple things like Easy Battery Tester,
this
which
week's
is
project.
this week's project.
Yeah.
Go ahead and download
nice, useful project, really quick and
you
easy.
You can download the STLs if you want.
It's a great use of dual extrusion to see how well your printer, if you have a dual extruder. We've had a dual extruder on a replicator once for a while now, and we haven't really created a cool project for it. This is a really good example of dual extrusion and the conductive material.
So yeah, definitely check that out. We will be doing a lot more projects with conductive, embedding circuits into not just flexible, but all types. Metal. We're going to test it out with metal.
Real quick, I wanted to tell people it's made out of PLA. It's a blend of PLA and black conductive carbon particles. So
yeah, so we're saying semi-flexible. Definitely
incredible.
Don't bend it all the way back.
Yeah. Still though, it's not brittle. It's very nice.
Flexible. Yeah.
Okay. Next up, folks. Of course, that was conductive filament. How about glow-in-the-dark NinjaFlex? We have a bunch of different types of colors in NinjaFlex, and now I have a color that's reactive to UV.
Yeah.
Ultraviolet light.
This is the regular, this is not semi-flexible, it's the full, rubbery, Ninja Flex, the original. So it's super flexible, super rubbery, and of course you can redo all of your wearable projects like our LED horns here.
Yeah, I'm wearing, you're wearing our last year's Halloween, one of Halloween projects. This is of course printed in glow-in-the-dark Ninja Flex. It's a really good print to test your printer's capabilities of overhang. This is printed with no support material. You get a little bit of stringy stuff here, but it looks really well from afar, and it's really nice to see this in glow in the dark. You could put, of course, LEDs inside these. These are, of course, hollow. You can put all sorts of different electronics or LEDs in there, and they glow really well with UV lights. So we got purple LEDs in the shop as well.
Of course, it works excellent for like an iPhone bumper case. This is the iPhone 6 bumper that we designed not too long ago.
Something a bit more useful, something you touch every day. How about your iPhone case, huh?
Yeah, so this is excellent in terms of like accessibility. Oh. When it's dark at night in your room, you can find your phone if it's gone missing or something like that.
Or if you wanted to rave trance, you can totally do it.
Yeah, totally do that. Yeah, so it holds glow for about an hour and a half. So it does last for a little bit, and of course, if you turn the light on,
how glowy is it?
It will sort of recharge off of the just the light being emitted from the screen.
That's great.
So that's very cool there. It's cool, very awesome, useful, sort of options you can make.
Of course, and not just the horns, but we have quite a few other projects that uses sort of Ninja Flex diffusers. Yeah. A lot of different things. Oh, and the unicorn horn is another one too.
Yeah, upcoming. I think do a labor next week on that.
Sure.
And of course, you can dual extrude these as well.
It's so cool to see this nylon stuff.
Yeah. Whoops. But very awesome. Definitely pick that up in the shop, and of course, you can get 10% off with coupon code FlexiCircuit.
Okay.
Check that out.
All right. Well, I have
one more
thing we want to talk about, folks. We got a lot of materials, but how about printing plates? We have a very special new product in the shop. This is from Print Z. If you guys remember, a couple of months ago, or I think, a couple of months ago, we had the Print Z plate. It has now been rebranded as the Zebra plate, and I actually happen to have it right here. This is optimized and cut for the PrinterBot Simple Metal, and the cool thing about this is it's not supposed to replace your bed, as it just fits on top of your bed, and it really replaces sort of using glue, stick, or using blue painter's tape. Like, we go through a bunch of blue painter's tape. If you want to save some money on blue painter's tape, get this. Works really well. You get an amazing surface finish. Works with all sorts of different types of materials. Cool thing is it works with the Z probes.
Yeah, there's actually copper embedded on the inside on both sides of that.
Sandwiched in between the two fiberglass substrates, so that's really cool. Effortless popping prints off your bed, and if you take a look here, you get a really nice surface quality. If you've ever printed a phone, you know you want that surface finish to be really, really nice. So that's really nice that we get that out of this. You can sand it down, of course, if you get any too much. If you get a little bit too deep, you can sand it down. You can use acetone in moderation. And it comes in two different colors. Why two different colors? So if you're printing in white, as you can see here, you can see the filament a lot better, so you can gauge sort of your first layer height and make sure that that's all nice. Yeah. How do you attach it to your bed? That's kind of up to you. I use binder clips, but a lot of folks are using their own custom things. It can be cut in all sorts of different sizes. Of course, we have it for the PrinterBot, but you can get it custom cut. You can hit up Wayne on email or his site and get yourself a custom fitted one. He's done it for all sorts of different printers. All over the world, actually. They're in France and all over the place in Europe. Very cool printer plates. Definitely recommend it if you have the PrinterBot Metal and you're looking for something better than blue tape. Check this out. Works really well. It's removable too. I think the build tack stuff is also awesome, but I think that has like a sticky back. This doesn't have a sticky back. It works two-sided. Works really well. So yeah, you can pick that up now at the shop. Get yourself 10% off, of course, with FlexiCircuit.
That's right.
That's right. Well, next, it looks like we have some time for some Q&A. We have about 7 minutes or so. So let's go ahead and jump into that, huh? We're going to start off with this first question here. This one is from my Willy Boy. What's up, my Willy Boy? This is on the conductive filament. How nice. Using the conductive filament, if I understand your explanation of the resistance, specifically the increasing and decreasing of resistance as you move from the contact terminal, would or could it be possible to print a slide potentiometer using the resistance from the filament only without a microcontroller.
Absolutely.
I think so.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We're going to give that a try and see if we can do some variable resistance, maybe dim LED or some other stuff. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, so Becky actually did one with the hoodie where she slides the little ring around the conductive.
Soft potentiometer, yeah. So we do have soft potentiometers.
It controls like the dimming on the hoodie.
Now you can design and make your own. Like that's pretty cool.
So yeah, excellent question. You definitely can. We'll
All right.
try to think of a project that can utilize that
too. Alrighty, well thank you for that one. Next one, this is from Alpha SX Signal. Is it better to not have the bed move on a 3D printer? I'm getting ready to buy a 3D printer and I want to get a good one. The one I'm looking at now, it does have the bed moving. Is this not a good thing?
Yeah, so there could be some challenges with a bed that moves, especially if you're printing something big and you're getting more weight on that bed as it's moving around. It can start to sway. You'll have to like reposition your model some way so it isn't moving that way. I know Phil B had some problems with one of his recent projects. I think it was the Poi, where he had to actually reorient the object because the way that the bed kept moving on the printer bot was being knocked off.
Yeah, I honestly don't think that there's much difference, but if that's what you've seen, then yeah.
Physically, it could be problems.
It's just a personal decision for me in terms of design. One thing I don't like is that when you're moving the bed, you really can't get a good time lapse. I know that doesn't matter much to people, but it kind of matters to me.
I mean, you can plop the camera right on the bed, but then you might be taking up room, or the nozzle can knock into it, or I mean, maybe you don't want to have, your whole background moving around with it, I mean, you're always going to see that.
Yeah.
And then the reason why people do it, or manufacturers do it, because it's cheaper.
Really?
Cheaper, less parts to actually have the bed move.
Okay, because it's like really 50-50. Like there's a lot that do have a moving bed and there's a lot that don't.
Yeah. Personally, we like the ones that do not. And there was
personal thing.
Yeah, this person asked a couple more questions that we can fit on here, but was asking, is the FlashForge a good one? And
oh wow, we haven't even talked about the FlashForge. Yeah, it's a great printer. We did all of these projects dual extrusion with the FlashForge printer. Absolutely recommend it. It's coming in the shop, and we're going to do a thorough review on it in the coming weeks. Yeah. So well, thank you, Alpha SX. That's a good question. It's more of a personal choice, but there are some models that might benefit from a not moving build.
Yeah.
Or at least moving in the X and Y. Yeah. Okay. Let's go to the next question. This one's from Hamaz. Alrighty. Asking, does your gameplay get saved? Oh, on the Pocket Pi Girl Game Boy. Yeah. I guess that depends on the emulator and your buttons too. Since you only have a couple buttons and GPIO on the Pocket Pi Girl, you could of course plug in a USB keyboard and then sort of save it like that. Because some of I think the SNEX for Pi does have the ability to save. So yeah, you just got to check it out and either map it to a button on your Game Pi or just stick in a keyboard to save that out, and you totally can.
Very awesome.
Good question. Yeah, I always want to save my games too, although it's cheating. All right, this one's from Timothy, asking on last week's video or show, did the Creator Pro come with an active cooling fan? Mine is only 2 weeks old, and I had to add my own and added a printed duct. I think that might be the FlashForge Creator X. That one is the predecessor to the Creator Pro, right? We actually almost purchased that one.
Yeah. So this one did come with its active cooling fan. You just had a simple install. It was just 2 screws, and then you just attach the little duct for it, and that was it. Made out of really high quality molded, injection molded parts. Yeah, very sturdy. And yeah, no,
it also came with acrylic hoodie and all that for doing proper enclosed ABS prints. I'm not sure if the Creator X came with that, but you might, if it's only 2 weeks old, I would try to return it and get the newer Creator Pro, because those are the differences there.
Definitely try to pick that one up, yeah.
All right, well, that's going to be it for the show, guys. That was Q&A. Thank you guys for asking. Of course, if you have any more questions, you can just ask them below or in any other videos, and we'll gather them up for the show.
Don't forget coupon code this week.
Coupon code this week.
Flexi Circuit, get 10% off. Does not work on software or gift certificates.
But it works on everything else.
Of course, get yourself a 3D printer. You'll get free shipping on that.
Oh, yeah. You'll get this, too. You get a free Perma Proto, so you can start making some cool projects with this. A lot of cool little circuits here. Make some integrated circuits as well with conductive filament, bare conductive paint, Ninja Flex.
And, of course, all the LEDs, batteries, everything. All the ancillary things you need to build your wearable, flexible, circuit
It's
integrated
yeah,
projects.
integrated project circuit thing, massively. We're still in the purple lighting, so I don't know. Maybe that's what it is.
Here, let me turn that on.
Okay. All right. Well, since it's the end of the show, we of course want to leave you with some links. This week's project is the LED battery tester that we were showing you. Very cool. If you want to test your batteries, give your printer a test for a dual extrusion, and if you have conductive filament, you can test your coin cell batteries.
It's like the coolest thing to show off.
Yeah.
The most useful
we
too.
actually used it the other day. We were in the garage. We
Clean
were
it
like,
up.
hey,
Well,
I got
do
all
these
we got a batch
batteries
of
work
these-
or not?
Yeah, here's a quick way to test it.
Quickly able to see, which ones were dead and which ones still had power. So very useful.
Anyway, it is on the Adafruit Learning, so if you can go check that out now.
The full guide is available for that, which lives on learn.adafruit.com. Always check there for all the new projects we're working on. They get released there first.
Yeah, very cool. Of course, we have some cool blog posts and things for you on Google Plus and the Adafruit blog. You can follow myself, Pedro, or I'm not Pedro, you're Pedro. You can follow myself, Noe, and Pedro on the Thingiverse's Twitters and Instagrams. We're doing cool stuff there as well.
Lots of behind the scenes there every time.
All right, and don't forget to tune in to the other shows, starting off with Wearable Electronics with Becky Stern, doing a lot of cool projects, Project Workshop, all sorts of good stuff there. And then following after that is Share Your Projects on the Show and Tell show with Lamar, Phil, myself, Tony, and other Adafruits. We're there. Always nice to see you guys. And then after that, a full hour of Lamar and Phil on Ask an Engineer. Get
Definitely
your questions
check that
answered, all the open source news, Raspberry Pi, Arduino, and more.
And if you miss any of the days, remember that on Wednesday there are more coupon codes.
Oh, yeah.
So definitely tune in every Wednesday and Thursday.
Yeah, and one last note, we will be off next week.
Yes, we're
So
taking
we'll miss
a
you
little vacay,
guys.
1 day off.
1 day off, yeah.
So no show next week, but we'll be back next week. We'll be testing the Ultimaker 2. It comes in tomorrow. Can't wait.
Wow.
We'll be living right there next to the Type A to do some testing.
All right, well, we're going to miss you folks, so this is going to be
That's it for this week.
it for this week. Sorry. See, we need that vacation, man. I don't know what's going on here. Hold on. I want to say bye. Hold on. Thank you guys so much for watching and staying in there.
See you guys.
Of course, we'll see you guys in the coming weeks.
Peace.
Bye, everybody.